Previously on EyeofSol.
So let's see if I can clone myself. Yeah, screw this. I'm out of here. Hey, wait a second, you can't leave. Hey, you can't leave! You know, all this talk about the Death Note, I think, has given me an idea as to who I should write in here. Guess there's nothing left to do but just finish the sentence on there. Wake up, you piece of shit. Oh, crap. It's you. Wait a second. Didn't I kill you?
What's that?
Yeah, I wrote your name in the Death Note 2 weeks ago. You should have died of a heart attack or something. How big a moron are you? You can't kill me with a Death Note because you're me, and you can't kill yourself with a Death Note, dumbass. Oh. Yeah. Did I mention that I wasn't really serious about killing you? I love you, buddy. Can you just untie me and I'll show you how much I love you. Shut it. Until you're dead and out of the way, I can't live my own life. So I have to think about what's the most ironic way to murder you. Hey, off topic, I know, but can you scratch my nose for me? It's really itchy and I can't quite reach it. God, I hate you. Oh, but that just gave me an idea on how to kill you. Oh, please, no, please, anything but that.
It seems today that all you see is violence in movies and sex on TV.
Come on, man, please. Can't you just shoot me or something? I don't really want to do this. Now start talking, cunt smear. And you can skip the history this time. Everybody already knows this series was created by Seth MacFarlane, produced by Fuzzy Door Productions, and it currently airs on Fox with a total of 14 seasons and 265 episodes. What was that? What was what? Nothing. All right then, start talking and let your inevitable demise begin! Here we go again.
Is there really any point in me describing the plot? In a series as long as this, you can rest assured that there is no plot, only a setting and scenario. Which I guess I'll describe now? In the town of Quahog, Rhode Island, there lives a family called the Griffins. This eccentric and irreverent family spends their days partaking in various shenanigans, much in the vein of The Simpsons. Oh, except for all the violence, the racism, the drug, sex, and pop culture references, the misogyny, the anti-Semitism, religious bashing, and all the other types of wholesome activities they and all their friends, family, and neighbors get involved in. That's pretty much where the plot begins and ends. The longer the series went on, the more it forgot about its characters and spent most of its time doing random cutaway gags. So there's not much at all to say here, and that gives me good reason to just move on ahead with all this.
Feeling weak yet? Maybe a little feverish? No, actually, not feverish. Gersh, I did tell you before though that my nose was itchy, so maybe if you could scratch it for me, I'd really appreciate that. I'm not gonna do that, you bumblefuck! Now talk about the characters and watch as your lungs collapse from the sheer horror of it all! You know, all you guys who try to antagonize me, you do realize that this stuff doesn't bother me, right? I mean, it's kinda getting old now. Well, maybe I can think of a better way to antagonize you then? Yeah, just give me a minute. Yeah, well, good luck with that.
First off, there's Peter Griffin, the fat, quote-unquote, lovable father of the Griffin household. And when I say lovable, I mean that he's a murdering, physically assaulting, drug-taking, child-endangering lunatic. But, you know, most of that stuff takes place in some nebulous cutaway gag, so I guess it's more legally defensible that way. Then there's Lois Griffin, Peter's wife, who is supposed to be the voice of reason character, but she too has had an absolutely ludicrous past, if her own cutaway gags are to be believed. And following up is Meg Griffin, one of the only characters who actually has some niceness in her, but that's overshadowed by the fact that everyone hates her, calls her atrociously ugly, and treats her like absolute shit for no reason. Then there's Chris Griffin, whose personality wavers between complete dumbass to underplayed intellectual that it's hard to determine which one is his real personality. My bet is on dumbass though, since that's how he started out. Bringing up the rear is Stewie Griffin, a super intelligent baby who began as a mother-hating supervillain type character, but then slowly shifted towards a very unstable personality with deep underlying homosexual leanings. And lastly, there's Brian Griffin, an anthropomorphic dog who comports himself as some sort of underappreciated genius, but is actually a shallow, womanizing alcoholic bastard with an ego the size of Texas. What I dislike most about all these characters is that originally they all had distinct personalities, but after a while, as in after the show returned from cancellation, they all became basically the same character with the same fucked up pasts, their tendency towards violence, drugs, sex, racism, and other such vices, and just generally similar reactions to situations. The only ones who really stand out are Brian and Stewie, as they get their own special episodes to explore their relationship together, but other than that, all of the characters are more often than not completely interchangeable. I suppose that allows for more comedy, which they do supply well, but the bulk of the comedy doesn't come from them anyway, though I'll get to that in a little bit.
Of course, I know I'm leaving out a bunch of other important characters, and I don't have time to go over them all, so I hope you understand. I mean, I am being held here against my will, after all. Speaking of that, have you thought of another way to antagonize me yet? Okay, then. Well, I guess I'm just gonna move on to the good things, okay? Alright? You okay, buddy? Chum? Amigo? Alright then. Come on, man. Why don't you say anything? Come on, what's up with you? Fine, okay, whatever. I'm just gonna keep going and maybe you'll have something to say to me then, huh?
To start things off, let me just say that this series is so fervently subjective to everyone who watches it that what I say here may mean absolutely nothing to you. With that in mind, however, I will say that the strongest leg this series has is in its comedy. Yes, it's not always funny, and often too esoteric to garner any laughs. But when the jokes hit, they hit hard. I can't say there isn't a single episode that doesn't make me laugh at least once, and hey, I count that as a victory. Now, I'm no snob, I'll admit that I like lowbrow humor, but only if it's done right. And this series, while it sometimes stumbles and misses the mark with its comedy, it thankfully hits that mark the majority of the time, even when it's being overtly racist or offensive. The best way to view this cartoon is through detached eyes, as in letting go of your personal hang-ups to have a good, hearty guffaw. Some people may have a harder time than others doing this, and I can kinda understand why, but it's best to know that this series isn't saying or doing these things out of genuine hatred. It's all for the sake of comedy, which, as long as you take it for exactly what it is, can generate some legitimate laughs. Also, when this series tries hard, it can make some very elaborate and memorable scenes, such as with its long musical numbers and dedicated parodies and references to pop culture things. Unlike that horrible genre of movies that just acknowledges pop culture stuff with no additional humor, this series does try to add its own spin on the references they drag up, in a meticulous and favorable way, I'd say. Whether or not this type of humor appeals to you is, like I said, purely subjective, so take that for what you will, I suppose.
What about that, huh? Hey, what do you think about that? What's wrong with you? Why won't you say anything? Fine, time to pull out the big guns. I'm gonna talk about what makes this series bad, and you're gonna be able to watch me squirm. Isn't that cool? Yeah, that's what you wanted in the first place, right, buddy? Yeah. I don't get this. Why are you doing this? So, yeah, bad things. Are you even listening anymore?
Whew, get ready for this everyone, because it's gonna be a bombshell. If comedy is this series' strongest leg, then its weakest, malformed leg is its overall tone. Not that it's inconsistent, no, it's just fucking mean. It's mean to everyone and everything in its own universe. I know I said it doesn't do it out of genuine hatred, and it's true that somebody has to be pushing the boundaries so that we understand exactly where the boundaries are, but that's why it's all the more baffling that this cartoon insists on being the playground bully of the animation world, when it's capable of more focused, character-driven scenarios. Its mean-spirited nature is enough to garner some real ire from people, and to be perfectly honest, I can't necessarily blame them. Sure, some people miss the point entirely, as this is not a show for children, so children should not be watching it, but that's a whole other topic I won't get into today. Of course, every series needs an identity, and it's nice to see that this one moved on from its roots, i.e. a Simpsons knockoff, but the identity it carved for himself is debatably a very risky one, and not often worth the amount of bullshit it shovels you. Such as when it's being overly disgusting with its shock humor, appallingly cruel with the way it treats its characters, or just wasting valuable time to play another goddamn Conway Twitty song or other such nonsense. It gets to the point where all the violence, all the sex jokes, drug jokes, mental illness jokes, and other such random things become the standard, and cease to be interesting. Because when you step back and look at the series as a whole, it has nothing to back it up other than its irreverent humor, since its characters and situations are so interchangeable that I could accidentally swap out episodes mid-viewing and probably wouldn't notice. Meaning that there is virtually zero investment to be had in anything. And unfortunately, I expect a little bit more from my cartoons. But when everything is boiled down, I must say that the series bears a lot of similarities with Megas XLR, in that it just doesn't give two squirts what I think about it. There's something to be admired in a series that can get by for so long just by doing its own thing, even if that thing is oftentimes appalling and ridiculous.
Oh, well, I guess if you're not caring what I say or do anymore, I guess I'm just gonna be escaping now. But you wanna stop me, right?
Do as you wish.
I got you to talk after all. What was with the silent treatment before? Look, I'm squirming over here. I'm gonna talk about my least favorite episode. You wanna know what it is, right? What would that be? Well, it's Brian Wright's a bestseller. Got you to talk.
In this episode, Brian is upset because his book, Faster Than the Speed of Love, is not selling at all. Seeing that the top-selling book is currently a self-help book, Brian decides to write a self-help book called Wish It, Want It, Do It in 3 hours, which, with Stewie's help, makes him into a famous author. Brian then turns into a complete douche nozzle and starts alienating Stewie despite the fact that he was only trying to help. The reason this episode is my least favorite is just because of Brian's attitude. He is such an egotistical bastard, and this episode is one of the few ones to really showcase it in an almost sickening way. Truth be told, there is quite a funny part with Brian appearing on Bill Maher's talk show, but other than that, it's just a truly nasty experience the whole way through.
Well, if you care now, I'm gonna tell you that my favorite episode is You May Now Kiss the, Guy Who Receives. Why is that?
In this episode, Brian's gay cousin Jasper announces that he's getting married to his boyfriend Ricardo. However, in a bid to draw attention away from wasting taxpayer money on a giant gold statue of Diggum, Mayor Adam West proposes a bill that would ban gay marriage. Brian then tries his best to make Mayor West change his mind, but finds that someone close to him may want to get in his way. Well then, the reason I like this episode the most is because I feel it has a nice message to it, in that it purports that gay people deserve to be happy, just like anyone else. Sure, Jasper himself is a very stereotypical gay guy, but he seems to be happy being that way, so I don't see a problem with it. Overall, it just has a good vibe to it, and is definitely worth a look.
Family Guy is akin to a big bag of trail mix. While some people can down the entire bag and enjoy every part of it, others like me like to dig through all the yogurt chips and granola to find the sweet M&Ms inside, while others just shun the entire bag altogether just because they're allergic to peanuts or something like that. And if that's a bit too theoretical for you, then I'll just put it this way. It's a show that has something that everyone can find enjoyable in it, but it's okay to pick and mix a little. Basically, what I'm trying to say here is a short and snacky experience, and it's not going away anytime soon. I give Family Guy
2 eyes out of 5.
So, Family Guy, is it watchable? Well, like I said, it's like a snack-sized experience, so you can consume as much or as little as you want. Just keep in mind that you might not feel too good if you consume more than necessary. Is it enjoyable? Well, that's completely subjective for this type of show, so I can't say for sure, but hey, it makes me laugh, so I guess it must be doing something right. Is it memorable? Well, there's no denying the impact that this show has had on the current generation. It definitely stands out from its other competitors, and it's a show that won't be fading from the public consciousness anytime soon. So are we done here? Can I go now? You've been free to go the whole time, you know. I untied your ropes back when you were talking about the characters. Then why did you do that? Because this is how I choose to antagonize you. You like to look like the victim, so it gives you recourse to shit all over other people's work. But if you're not being victimized or have any attention paid to you, then you have nobody to complain to. Maybe someday I'll decide that you are worth killing, but for now, you can go with the knowledge that I will never be a villain in your small little world. Because I'm the part of you that knows better than to act like the villain just to get attention. So, Family Guy, is it watchable? I don't know. Okay. Shut up! Ew, that was disgusting. Did you see that? It dripped onto the fucking roof. That was gross.
Want to stay up to date with the latest EyeofSol news? You can follow me on Twitter as well as on Facebook at twitter.com/EyeofSol299 and facebook.com/EyeofSol. I update them every day, so if you want to check out news on the show as well as updates, just follow the links here. Hey everybody, thanks for watching my review of Family Guy. I hope you liked it. See, there was no April Fool's joke. That was the joke. Okay, anyway, if you liked this episode, I would appreciate a like and a share, as well as a subscription to my channel, because I really do appreciate that. There's an annotation on the screen there that you can click to subscribe to my channel. If you want to see the previous Sol episodes, you can see the annotations playing on the video right now, or if you want to check out my various social media sites, you can see my links to my Twitch channel, Twitter page, and my Facebook fan page there on the screen for you, as well as in the description. If you have an idea for an animated series or movie you want me to comment on, you can leave me a message in the YouTube comments, on any one of my social media sites, or just let me know in any way you can think of to let me know what you want to see, and I will add it to my list. Okay? Thanks again for watching everybody, and I will see you next week for another review.